Hi, I'm Lorenzo from the Ango team at iMerit, and today we released the ChatGPT plugin to Ango Hub. It's open for everyone. You can go to Ango Hub, log in, add it to your projects, add it to your organization, and try it out. So in this video, I wanted to show you a few of the ways in which you can use the ChatGPT plugin in your own project with a few very simple demos. So I have a couple of call transcriptions here. These are not real data, of course, they're fictional, but I will have ChatGPT go through these call transcriptions and understand what the customer's problem was. So ChatGPT will sort of summarize the entire call transcription for me and in a single sentence tell me what the customer's main complaint or problem was. And I created a project for it here, but I haven't set it up yet. I thought we could set it up together so that this video also acts as a tutorial of sorts for how to use the ChatGPT plugin. So first things first, let's make sure that the ChatGPT plugin is in our project. So I'll just go to Settings, Plugins, and I'll scroll down to see if it's available. And indeed it is. But if you don't have it available, click on Plugins, then Show Plugin Directory, and search for ChatGPT here. Simply click on Add here to add it to your organization. So first things first, we need to determine a category schema for our project. And in our case, we'll only have a single text classification class called customer problem, let's say. And this is where ChatGPT will output the text that it generates. So let's save it. And now let's go to the workflow to set up the workflow of our project. So in our project, I think what I'd like for it to happen is I'd like ChatGPT to go through the asset, summarize it, determine what the problem of the customer is, place that in a text classification, and then show that to the labeler so that then the labeler can verify whether the ChatGPT output is correct or not. So I think the right course of action for this project would be to place a plugin stage here in between start and label. So let's plug the plugin stage here. And let's make sure that whenever we upload new assets, we don't directly send them to the plugin stage. I'm just doing that so that I can show you the manual process of sending tasks to the plugin stage. And so let's click on the plugin stage to set its settings. Now, we pick the model that we wish to use. In this case, it's ChatGPT. And we can load the default preset. So that will load the default configuration JSON that we get from the plugin. Let's map our classes. So we have an available class that's called reply text. And this class is the class where ChatGPT will produce its output. So the reply is the output. And we pick the customer problem class that we've just created and we click on plus. So what will happen here is we mapped ChatGPT's output to our customer problem class. So ChatGPT will know where to output the text that it will create. And then here in the config.json, these are the prompt settings. So there are a couple of ways that the ChatGPT plugin can get its prompt from. It can get its prompt from the full body of the asset itself. It can get its prompt from a text annotation that we create. And it can get its prompt from a text, an entity that we highlight in the text itself. In this case, we want ChatGPT to read the entire asset. And so what we'll do is we see that there's a get prompt body from option here. We need to change this from text annotation to full text asset. The documentation for this plugin, if it's not already live by the time you're watching this video, it should be live very soon. So please be on the lookout for that. Now, we've given ChatGPT the entire text of the asset as a prompt, but that's not going to be enough. We need to tell ChatGPT what to do with this text. So this is where the prompt prefix and prompt suffix areas come into play. Here, we can write some text to show ChatGPT before the asset itself, before the body of the prompt itself. So in this case, we can write something like, please summarize the issue the customer is having in the call in a single sentence. Here is the call transcription. And so this text will be shown to ChatGPT before the call transcription itself, so that ChatGPT knows what to do with it. Okay, so let's save our workflow, and we should be pretty much ready to go. So let me upload a few assets. So in this case, it's going to be the 3 call transcriptions. Okay. And because of the way we set up our workflow, they will be in the start stage now. So you can see that there's a tree here in the start. Let's click on the start stage and manually send them to the ChatGPT plugin stage so that ChatGPT can start running on them and summarize them. I'll click send all tasks to next stage. And now the tasks have been sent to ChatGPT. So now ChatGPT is working its magic, so to speak. We can refresh here a few times to see the numbers go down as ChatGPT progresses through the tasks. And done. We can see that now the plugin stage has 0 tasks in it. It means that all of the tasks have been processed and they've been sent to the labeling stage. So let's now click on Start Labeling to actually check whether the ChatGPT summaries were correct or not. So let me save the workflow and start labeling. Okay, so here is the text itself. And the text is between a customer and a support representative, and the customer is having some freezing issues with Ango Hub. And so this is what ChatGPT has summarized. So the customer is experiencing freezing issues with the data annotation tool on Ango Hub while using Chrome, but switching to Firefox resolves the problem. So here, the data annotator can look at this summary written by ChatGPT and determine whether it's correct or not. They can then, for example, edit it if they want to, or they can submit it. Let's submit it in this case and see and take a look at another one. So in this case, the customer is having problems with logging in. So ChatGPT has written, the customer is having trouble logging in to their Ango Hub account because their password is being recognized as incorrect. So again, ChatGPT looked through the asset itself, looked at the prompt that we gave it. So we told ChatGPT to please summarize the problem that the customer is having in a single sentence, and that's exactly what it's done. Let's take a look at the next asset. So the problem the customer is having here is difficulty uploading their dataset into the platform. And ChatGPT wrote correctly that the customer is having trouble uploading a CSV file into the Ango Hub platform. So this is just a taste of what can be done with ChatGPT when it can look at your text asset. So for more information on the ChatGPT plugin, I'd highly recommend you check out docs.imerit.net. And like I said, ChatGPT can look at the entire asset. It can look at only a selected portion of the text that the annotators have highlighted in advance, or it can look at a text classification that annotators have written in advance to work as a prompt to then generate text and put that and place that into a text classification of your choice. That is the general usage of ChatGPT. But there's something else. We also published a DALL-E plugin today as well. So you can go to Ango Hub and try the DALL-E plugin right now as well. Simply add that to your project, just like we did for the ChatGPT plugin. And this DALL-E plugin allows us to create new projects without having to upload any asset whatsoever. DALL-E will generate the assets for us. So DALL-E can be useful when we need to generate assets from scratch. So we need to create artificial data, so to speak. And the DALL-E plugin is quite simple. Simply go to the project settings, click on plugins, and scroll to the DALL-E plugin. Click on open and write your prompt here. So DALL-E will generate a number of images with the resolution that you've chosen and add them, upload them to that project to then show to annotators so the annotators can perform their labeling. So in our case, as a prompt, we can write something, for example, let's say a horse running up a hill. And instead of the usual 3 images, let's generate 5, for example, and click on Run. So now DALL-E will start generating those images in the background. We can, of course, close the tab, keep using the platform as always. DALL-E will not be stopped by that. We can go to the Assets tab and check the plugin sessions dialog for progress on the current plugin task. In this case, we can see that just a few seconds ago, the plugin was started. Let's refresh the Assets tab here, and we should see the images that DALL-E has generated for us. From the Settings panel, we can create, of course, a bounding box class, for example, and click on Start Labeling to see the images that DALL-E has generated for us. So this is a completely artificial asset that was created by DALL-E, and we've just created this project without ever having uploaded any real asset whatsoever. So the annotator could, for example, annotate these generative AI, are completely artificial assets. by clicking on the attachment button here on the right, the annotator can see the prompt that was used to generate this image. If we click on submit, we are shown the next image on the series. So for example, the annotator could annotate the animal, some parts of the object, or anything else that you might determine in your prompt, and click on submit to see the next one. Let's submit again. And so, yeah, these are the images that Dolly has generated for us and uploaded into our project. So both the ChatGPT and the Dolly plugins are live for you to try on Ango Hub. So iMerit.ango.ai. If you go to the plugins page, you should be able to see the ChatGPT and Dolly plugins live. So simply add them to your project and test them out. The documentation, as I said, should be live now. Please do let us know your thoughts. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.